really encourage everyone, not a religious experience. Don't go looking around for religion. There's thousands of religions. In India, there's maybe about 30,000 of them. You go ahead and pick up one of those 30,000 if you want. Okay, so we want to just thank everybody that's here today. We're going to have a beautiful day. And those of you that were able to tune in, God bless you. Shalom and Shabbat Shalom. It's great to be together in such a time as this. We're talking about the importance of having a true, genuine, born-again experience. Because without having that born-again experience, it is really a battle. Battle that we will never win until He comes into our lives. So I pray that you would, if you believe that there is some God, that you would just forget about every God and then just call upon that invisible God, and He will hear you. You see, He will look at your heart to see if you're serious of finding the real God. And because all the other gods are no gods at all. All right? And if there's no other gods at all, and your heart's crying out for the true, how do you say God in Hawaiian? Ilu? God is, in Hawaiian is what? Io? Okay, the true Io, okay, there could be many Ios. All right? The God of volcanoes, remember that was one at a certain time. But we're talking about the real one, okay? And because the other ones don't actually exist at all, He's the only one that will hear you. But He knows if we're playing money business, monkey business, or we just want to prove that we're the gods. All right, so you start with that, and then He will hear you, and He will answer you. And He'll call you to come out of a system that has polluted our minds. And so Paul now speaks in the book of Romans. Once you're born again, you go through a process of renewing your mind. That's emptying out the old one, cleaning out that computer mind of ours until there's nothing there that's left and only the real pure input is there, okay? All right, this morning I want to speak on the subject, one that has to do of how we elect to choose things and why we choose things the way that we choose them. First of all, I'm gonna teach you from a manual that I prepare, especially for our worldwide leaders around the world, for our prayer tower leaders and pastors that are around the world. And I bring some teachings here as well, because they're not only directing their nation in prayer and tearing down strongholds, but they're also educators, and some of them are rabbis, some of them are pastors and teachers, and so everyone needs to teach. We are all given the spirit of reconciliation to reconcile man back to God, and that means we need to be able to teach through discipling others. And so I'll start with Numbers chapter 32. There are certain priorities that cannot go without attention, and this is one of them. We learned from the book of Numbers here. There were that Reuben and Gad. Okay, these two were blessed, and they were blessed in such an abundant way that the blessing themselves became a distraction and even a hindrance. They had an abundance of flock, of herds, and that they would anticipate not having enough grazing as they moved into the land of Israel. So here, they have so much, and then they said, maybe there's not enough land for us when we are moving in to take possession of our lots there. So right away, they begin to do what many people do, and they begin to eyeball, as it were. Maybe we can get this, and maybe we can get that, and maybe we can get enough land. So they proposed the following, and this is in essence what they proposed. Instead of taking our regular portion of land within Israel proper, we'll instead stay here on the eastern side of the Jordan. Now, it was a priority for them to move into their lot because they were given an assigned land, okay? But they paid no or little attention, as they were paying attention only to the fact that they had cattle, and they have herds, and they had abundance of everything. But they began to lose their priorities. Because what happened here is that they paid no or little attention to the needs of the children, as they were more interested in their income, as we see in this book of Numbers, chapter 32 and verse 4. And Moses actually was upset. He was upset because when making their request to him, Reuben and Gad, they blatantly disregard the needs of their family, the needs of their children. And when they're talking to Moses, they're talking about cattle. So in verse 16, they approach Moses again, and they restate their request. And this time, they mention the children. So why did they mention the children this time, and they didn't mention the children the first time? Does anyone have an idea? Do you think that they were under conviction? I would say probably not. Because if that seems to be the condition for them to maybe for Moses to consider giving them more land, wouldn't they begin to talk about the children? But the children was really not foremost in their hearts. But only after first speaking of the cattle did they speak about the children. So again, the second time they come and they speak about the children, but first they talk about the cattle. And then they bring up the children. And Moses again is not happy. Of what? Their lack of what? Priority. The lack of priority for putting business ahead of family. I want you to please listen to this. Because if you're living here in the United States, and maybe even here in this nation of the Hawaiian Islands, and you're prospering, that prosperity can become a priority very easily. And you begin to think, how can I double what I already have? And if you're thinking about doubling your income, and then you double your income, you want to do what again? You're going to want to double it again. Would you be thinking the same about your kids? That you want to double their spiritual life? that you want to begin to teach them Torah as the Jewish people do at age 5. So by the time they're 12, they can already start teaching Torah. See, they know how to double think.